Well everyone, I've done a video on the Genesis, going around it, giving you a preview of that and what it looks like. I've done one of the pros and cons of the vehicle, and now since I've had the vehicle for about 5 weeks, I think it's only right to go over the reality of living with one as a 21-year-old. Now, one disclaimer I do want to make is that, like I said, I am a 21-year-old college student. I do not have a full-time job right now with this car, which is why I'm kind of making the video to put you in my perspective of, I don't have that full-time paying job that's going to give me that regular income. So I'm kind of all over the place in that aspect. And obviously with a car that's a little more expensive than the Malibu was and all that, like taking that into account, that I have to pay a little more and find a little more, or I guess find more ways to make money to pay the car off and all that and keep up with my payments. So that's why I'm making this video, and why I want to kind of let you guys in on that is because I feel like it's kind of important and kind of cool to see, coming from a normal everyday Joe like myself, owning a car with, the stature and things like that, and how it's kind of worked so far and how I kind of look at it in the future and how it might work out too. So. Can't forget this. All right, everyone, so starting off with one of the things that is probably the most important when living with the reality of a car or not is how much it costs. So for the Genesis G70 3.3 turbo V6 Sport that I did buy in a 2021 model year, it was $30,000 that I had to pay for the car. That was before licensing and all that. Maybe add, a couple thousand more to that, so maybe more like 32,000 when all is said and done, and I still don't have my plates yet, so that's in the pipeline for sure. Now with this, I did put about a third of that down, so I already have about a third of the car paid off, which is nice. I had some money put away for that, so I was able to kind of use that to, fund the car and put that toward getting some of it paid off so that I don't have as much of a monthly payment in the future. Now going into the monthly payment for the car, it is pretty steep for sure, but it's pretty normal, I suppose, for a car that is like this. It is about $500 a month that I'm paying, and that includes insurance and the actual car payment itself. So I think, it's a pretty reasonable amount, and I'm able to kind of get that, through the jobs I work and things like that. And if you guys subscribe, maybe I can get some from this. But anyway, going back into that, yes, it's $500 a month for insurance and the car payment itself. So it's a pretty good amount, and I feel like that's pretty normal, again, for a car like this. Now, in terms of the $30,000 I paid for it, I feel like that's a pretty reasonable price. A lot of these new Genesis G70s go for about $50,000, even more. So I feel like $30,000 for it. When I got the car, it had about 15,700 miles on it, and I've already put on almost 2,000 in a month or so. So again, I think that's pretty reasonable. And like I said, $30,000 for a car like this that has almost 400 horsepower, a turbocharged V6, you can't really go wrong with that. But again, $30,000 I paid for it. I put about a third of it down money-wise, so I have about a third of the car paid off, and then $500 a month or so paying for it. It's pretty reasonable, but obviously it is still an amount that I need to pay every month that is, attainable, but I definitely need to work hard for it. So it's definitely no walk in the park. Now, another reality of living with the Genesis G70 that I have made apparent in a few other videos that you should definitely go watch is the gas and a change in that expense for me. So like I've said before, I went from 87 unleaded in the Malibu to 91 premium in the Genesis. Obviously a big change. It's about $1 more per gallon that you're seeing between those two that I have to put in this car. So that definitely adds up. I'm paying about, somewhere in the range of $12 to $15 more per time I fill up than I was with the Malibu. So it's definitely made a dent in my bank account, but again, I do think it's worth it for the car, putting in the right fuel, making sure you get the right performance. It also helps with mileage and fuel economy and stuff too, which I have seen improvement on. Now I'm getting about 24 instead of that 20, 21 in the city, so that's good too. Now, like I said, the new tank also holds about 2-ish gallons more than the Malibu did, so obviously that's going to add another $8 to $10 right there just based on that and how much it can hold. But again, it is lasting me a decent amount. And obviously, like I said, with the new engine that's in this car compared to the Malibu, going from a 4-cylinder to a 6-cylinder, and then obviously almost double the size, actually over double the size, obviously it's going to take more to get that thing going. And I think overall, you know, going from 87 to 91 isn't great money-wise because obviously it's more, but again, I do see it worth it to make this car drive as best as it can, perform as best as it can at all times, no matter what, and I'm willing to sacrifice that for sure. And so that's just kind of the reality of it, and something that I've kind of already gotten used to. Now, one other thing I do want to point out, reality of living with the Genesis G70 compared to that Chevy Malibu, is going from an everyday driver in the Malibu to more of a sports and luxury sedan in the Genesis. Now, obviously, I'm a little more conscientious when I go around, try not to park as close to people maybe with this car, just so it can stay shiny and fancy and new. And I think everyone kind of feels that when they get a new car, but I think this one definitely for sure, just based on the look and the eyes that sometimes it gets in public. You know, I try and keep it away from other people just to keep it safe and protect it like it's my baby. And obviously with driving and stuff, it's definitely more reactive, tighter turns, the braking is more responsive, stuff like that. So I'm still adjusting to that, and like the drive modes, going from sport to comfort to all that different kind of stuff. Whereas the Malibu, you know, obviously just has one mode and you just kind of drive economy for the whole thing. So it's definitely been a change for sure, but one that I've been excited to kind of do. It's been exciting to experience that and kind of test that out myself with the new car that I have. But again, definitely something to think about as a reality from going to that daily driver to a sports sedan. If you're looking into that, it's definitely going to take a little bit of getting used to, just to get used to that more reactiveness off the start from a stoplight or just a stop in general, the tighter turns, the more sporty interior, the more you have to take care of the car and treat it like it's your own and your baby and things like that. Even with the gas and stuff like that, making sure that you're putting the right stuff in, something that I definitely have to keep in mind for sure. But again, I'm getting used to that, and it's been fun to do that. And I still do have to try out the paddle shifters for sure, which hopefully I'll get into that soon and try those out as well, because I've not gotten a chance to yet. But yeah. Now, another thing I'll add with the reality of living with the Genesis is for someone like me that moves around a lot, puts stuff in the car a lot, it's definitely been an adjustment space-wise, especially for things like golf clubs and stuff. The back is just not as wide as it was in the Malibu, so it's tough to kind of fit those in sometimes. But again, something I've gotten used to. Also fitting like sticks in the back seat, hockey bags in the back. Stuff all fits, but I guess I'm just not able to fit as much as I was before. So that's definitely an adjustment that I've had to make. Sometimes I got to put stuff in the back seat and whatever else it might take. So again, been an adjustment, but I think it's been fine so far. And honestly, it's not like I haul a bunch of stuff around here, so it's been good for the most part. But another adjustment you kind of have to make going from a everyday vehicle to a sport luxury car is that you're not going to have as much space, and the practicality of it's going to go down just a tish. But obviously overall, like, this car is still very practical and I can fit everything I usually need to, just maybe a little tighter squeeze than before, but it's obviously doable and I've had a fine time with it so far. And finally, everyone, to wrap up this thought process of the reality of living with this car, I kind of mentioned it just before this, but again, babying the car and just how much I pay attention to the little stuff with this car. Now, I don't know if I've told you before, but there are actually factory stickers on the car, of protection wise and all that, that the previous owner did not take off. And since this car only has 17,000 miles, it kind of makes sense, but it's also very odd that they are on there. But still, I'm keeping those on, right? Like, I'm not going to take those off just because I think it's cool that they're still on. And it's like, why would I not keep them on, right? I mean, it keeps the car nice and like that new factor to it. But like I said, definitely parking it away from other people if I can, and trying to just kind of baby the crap out of it. Like, make sure that I'm not hitting anything, cleaning it out regularly, taking it to the car wash, cleaning the outside regularly, vacuuming it, just all things like that. And obviously I did that with the Malibu, but it's a lot different here because this car is a little bit more money, it's a little bit more to maintain, a little more expensive, things like that. So I'm definitely babying it. And it's also the first new car that I've purchased myself, so it means a little more in that regard as well. But definitely just babying it and being more careful with it and stuff, like especially turning, making sure not to rub the curbs, stuff like that. And so yeah, I mean, that's just kind of the reality of living with a new car and one that you've purchased. And I think when you buy something, it means a little more. And yeah, I've definitely felt that firsthand. But anyway, everyone, that's going to kind of do it for the reality of living with this guy right here, the Genesis G70 Sport. Obviously, it's been super fun and I've had a very enjoyable time doing so, but there's those few things I've noticed cost-wise, what I had to pay for it, obviously, as that 21-year-old college student that still doesn't have a full-time job, quote unquote. So again, just something to keep in mind when you're looking at cars like this. But if you stayed this far in the video, I appreciate you tuning in and keeping along with me. If you guys like my shorts as well and my reels, make sure to comment below what you like about them, ideas for those and stuff like that, because I do enjoy doing those and I've gotten some pretty good feedback on those and a lot more views and some of my other stuff. But anyway, like a G70, we are out of here. Appreciate your guys' support and we'll see you next time.